We are in an era of unprecedented global disruptions. Geopolitics, climate change, pandemics, and cyber threats, to name a few. As an educator, I firmly believe that true learning transcends the walls of the classroom. I'm Nick Vyas, the founding executive director of the USC Marshall Randall R. Kendrick Global Supply Chain Institute, and I invite you to explore stories, strategies, and solutions that drive today's global supply chain. Discover the driving forces shaping the future of this industry and the passion that fuels it. Through the USC Kendrick Global Supply Chain Institute's NEAR framework, network, education, and advanced research, we aim to demystify the integrated world of supply chains. Our Docuseries takes you behind the scenes of the complex world of supply chains. We'll highlight how agility, resilience, and sustainability drives meaningful change in today's data-driven, digitally transformative landscape. Tea, one of the world's most popular beverages, has a rich history dating back 3000 BC in China. Initially used as a medicine, it evolved into a cherished social drinks and cultural staples worldwide. As the second most consumed beverage in the world, the tea industry shows no signs of slowing down. Its timeless appeal and wide-ranging variety continues to drive growth, with the global market projected to be close to $100 billion by 2030. Tea cultivation spans globe, with the major producers in China, India, Kenya, Sri Lanka, and Turkey shaping diverse flavors and profiles. Enjoyed worldwide, tea takes a unique cultural form: steaming black tea in Turkey, milk in UK, masala chais in India, and iced tea in US. It highlights an incredible diversified portfolio of different beverages. From ancient ritual to modern trends, tea has remained cultural cornerstones, bridging traditions and connecting people across the globe. Join us as we explore the fascinating journey of the pilot episode of Supply Chain Demystified Docuseries, From Lip to Cup with Art of Tea. Steve, thanks for being here. It is such an honor to sit here, sip a cup of tea, and have a conversation about tea.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for taking the time to be here.
So tea, what is your perspective on the tea and then the history? What leads us to where we started to where we are today?
Wow. Yeah, that simple three-letter word that we know of as tea, I think it means so many things for so many different people. It can mean comfort, it can mean solace, it can mean joy, it could mean taking time out, it could mean energy in the morning, it could be winding down at the end of the day. You know, there was a monk, a sage, a leader in his time that discovered it. He was boiling his pot of water. He put it on his windowsill to let it cool. A Camellia sinensis, a tea plant, leaf flew up in the air, fell into his pot of cooling water. Not wanting to waste it, he drank it. And he claimed its healing elixir. For the first time, he felt this energy that he was not able to feel in any other plants, and he felt a sense of responsibility to share it with the rest of the world.
So the tea actually, original usage was medicinal. It's used as a medicine and healing properties.
Yes. So, in fact, I got into this because I got a full paid scholarship out of high school to go to college. And 6 months into it, my mom got diagnosed with brain cancer. So I dropped out of college, I moved in with her, and I was her primary caretaker. And we went from one oncologist to the next, and nothing worked for my mom. And so it really woke me up. It got me thinking more about health and wellness. And I found this small school in New Mexico called the Ayurvedic Institute. And there I fell in love with the alchemy of blending herbs and teas and botanicals, so much so that I was chosen as the only student advanced enough to work with the masters at my school on how to blend and source. And I remember I was on the phone with a supplier overseas, and back then it was like $2 and something a minute. And I said I needed to order some ginkgo. And he said, would you like to order ginkgo on an eastern slope or a western slope next to river? And I was like, I don't care, it doesn't matter. I just need to order ginkgo. He said, no, sir, it does matter. And you need to come here yourself and experience it. So I was intrigued. I saved up my money. I worked 4 different jobs. I got a backpack and I started traveling around the world to find the best botanicals and teas possible, not knowing that I was going to start a tea company. I just knew that I was a huge tea nerd and into it. Started bringing stuff back for friends and family, and then caught the attention of Wolfgang Puck and then Caesar's Palace. And they asked me to train the first tea sommelier in the US, and it just really grew from there.
So you just brewed this cup of tea.
Yeah.
So let's take a journey from end to end. Walk me through this particular tea that we're having today.
Yeah.
And then relations from the farm all the way down to the bag that you just used for the brewing.
Awesome. So this is a black tea base. This is called Earl Grey Creme. It's our own unique formulation. And so we work with a group of monks in Kerala region, which is in southern India, and they've dedicated their lives to the estate. They have not left the estate in many, many years. So what does it mean to dedicate their lives to the estate? It means that they do 6 hours of learning, deep contemplation learning, spiritual learning, elevated learning, and then 6 hours of working in the fields. And they also employ 45 families within the neighboring community and give them jobs and accessibility. So when you're there, one, you feel the prana, you feel the energy, you feel the specialness of the space. And we believe that that energy also goes into the tea. That intention goes into the product. We add that back by bringing it here, and then we blend it with specific botanicals and essences, such as our Italian bergamot oil. Bergamot is an incredible citrus fruit that's known to make Earl Grey. We blend it in with just a touch of French vanilla to give it sort of that round, creamy edge to it. And the reason why we do that is that we found a lot of times people will add in their black tea lemon to cut through the bitterness. They'll add sugar to balance out the sweetness. They'll add cream to negate some of the citrus effects with the Italian bergamot oil. So we wanted to create a self-drinking tea, something that's complete without needing to add anything to it.
Walk me through the journey of supply chain, from the farm and then the first mile, middle mile, last mile.
Yeah.
And how does that, when I'm sipping this cup of tea at my home, how does it make it to my home?
That's beautiful. What we source is the top 1% to 2% of all the teas that are sourced in the world. It's hand harvested, and we're bringing that in typically by boat. So depending on where it's coming from, if it's going out of India, from India it goes through Singapore, Singapore goes to Long Beach. And we have 2 facilities now. We have a facility here in Los Angeles, and we're in the process of opening up our second facility in Fort Lauderdale to help with our East Coast production out there and market out there. A big part of it is process planning. I mean, we're dealing with something based on where we predict the market is and expectations of the market's going to be 6 months from now. And because it's an agricultural product, part of that is the relationships with our farmers. And we have to make sure that, can they meet the demand? Are we growing in the direction that they want us to be growing in as well? Because they're depending on us as much as we're depending on them for a reliable product.
So it's a striking balance between supply and demand, and you trying to forecast, which is one of the most complex subjects in supply chain.
Yeah.
Right. The further you go out, the less accurate you become.
So then how does it get to our customers? Well, there's 2 ways. One, because we blend and pack, we're a vertically integrated tea company. We're bringing product in from around the world. We're doing our own blending, our own packing. From day one, we wanted to be as sustainable as possible and making sure that we're offering really clean ingredients and clean packaging. And so we're blending, we're packing, and we're shipping directly to our customers. So it's not something you'd find in a supermarket, something you'd find either online at artoftea.com or in the fine hotels and establishments, from the White House to amazing hospitality venues across the country.
If you were to highlight between your first miles, middle mile, and the last mile of supply chain, where do you find the most challenging piece? Is this in the front end, middle, or the back end?
The biggest challenge right now, by the way, it might be different today than it was 2 years ago, than it was 6 years ago, and it was year 1.
Or it could be in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
The way our world is shaping up, yes.
Yeah. So when we were negotiating with our Indian suppliers on how could we get a container, and during COVID, that was a major challenge. That was on the front end. Now, on the back end, now it's, when do we pay the tariffs? Because there's still confusion on, do we pay it at the beginning, in the middle, or the end? And at what point are we expecting additional charges, knowing that there's going to be potential huge congestion at Long Beach?
Yep.
And so I think I'd be very curious to know what are other potential avenues of receiving where we're not so concerned about that last mile being able to reach our warehouse here.
Yeah, so that's a common questions that I get posed, and not just by the business leaders, but also by the policymakers. Because you think about previously, multilateral trade used to take us close to 18 months to 24 months. Once you sign it, you'd execute it, they're good for 5-10 years. So you had such a long predictability on the horizon that you can plan your entire supply chain. Today, it's no longer the case. It changes by days, if not by hours. It could change, right? So Steve, that is actually one of the most fascinating areas that the businesses
So
have
where's
started.
the opportunity for your students, for your community? Where is the opportunity, knowing that this is the pain point and it's not going away?
So it's a great question. I think one of the big force that's brewing up on our horizon is
I love the analogy,
technology.
You're brewing up, sorry.
Well, we're talking about tea, right? So those forces that are brewing up, I mean, I think that AI, agentic AI, has been a very fascinating spot. 40 cents on every dollar we spend in supply chain is waste. Waste because the information doesn't move, waste because we're filling out paperwork, waste because we don't know how many documents will require and what entry forms do I need to do.
Yeah.
And then, the reworks and everything else that goes in and things that you have to do in the warehouse before you ship your product to the consumer. Because what tomorrow, 5 years from now, I think our world would be very different.
Yeah.
I think I can just imagine, and I think that excites me and our students and our thought leadership in this space, but I'll be remiss if I don't highlight. This has also a huge implication of human capital. I believe as this promising opportunity space will open up, about 30 to 40% of the human capital will have to reprogram their knowledge base and knowledge skills.
And this is where relationships are so important. It's important for us whenever we get a botanical or a tea that we look for additional backup farmers and additional backup suppliers in case they do have crop failure, in case there are other concerns there. In the case of matcha, as we've gone out to other suppliers that we could potentially work with, the message is very clear. There's huge crop failure that's happening this year, and we're only supporting the customers that we're currently working with. So as demand has shot through the roof for matcha in the West, making sure that we have these strong relationships with our current suppliers is key and fundamental. In fact, tomorrow I'm leaving for Japan, really meeting eye to eye, cup to cup, and making sure that our quality and consistency, as there's a major matcha shortage, making sure that we can meet our demand and be able to deliver an exceptional experience for our customers.
I tell this to my students. The supply chain has always been on the foundation of supplier and buyer's relationship, right? That trust, that nurturing of belief in each other, that there are good times, bad times, and hard times, they'll rise through together. Truly, that spirit will continue to exist in spite of all of this technological evolution and revolutions we talked about. And I think that's a fundamental thing that we're going to work on it.
Can I just share a quick story about that?
Absolutely.
So it was April 2020. I heard a speaker come into this business group, and I'm just like, you're a group of friends that get together and learn and share. And he came in, and this is at the beginning of COVID when things were about to be potentially shut down. And he came in and said, Thanksgiving, you're not going to be with your families. Forget Christmas plays, forget going on, seeing concerts or seeing your favorite sports events. At least 18 months, things are going to be shut down. And 90% of the group said, that's ridiculous, we don't believe this guy. I leaned in on it right away. I called my suppliers and I said, I've never asked for extended terms. There's something happening here in LA, and I want to let you know ahead of it. And I'm asking, is it possible for us to extend our terms a little bit? Maybe from 30 days, can we do 90 days, just in the short term? And they said, Steve, we've been working with you for years. We love you. We love the relationship that we have, whatever you need. And I couldn't have done that at the beginning. I could only have done that based on the relationships that I've built and designed. And we said, we heard about this COVID thing happening in your area, and we're so sorry. Sure enough, what happened weeks later, everything's shut down. But because I was able to be very transparent initially, I was able to continue to foster those strong relationships and connections that we have.
You know, Stu, that's a beautiful story. And I'll tell you, this is where we are one of the very unique programs at USC, our Masters of Science in Global Supply Chain Management. Well, I take my students in the first part of their global supply chain management in international settings to Asia, where they spend the week understanding how the relationships, how sourcing in the front end works, right? And for 70% of my students, that's the first time they were actually stepping foot out in Asia.
Wow.
Let me bring this whole thing back to
Please.
your passion, led from your high school journey with your mom's situation to here being very successful, leading the Art of Tea. What advice would you have for the young entrepreneur who has desire, burning desire, do something, start something, be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. There's a big thing that we're taught, which is do what you love. Go, really find something that you love to do, right? Do you love sports? Do you love film? Like, go do what you love. Or supply chain. Go do what you love. And I'm actually a believer of the opposite. Love what you do. And if you love what you do, even if you're starting at the very beginning working for a company or an industry that you're questioning if it's right for you, if you love what you do, and people will resonate, they'll see that positivity coming from you, and people want to work from you and work with you. If you come from that angle, I think that is the key to success. You really have to love what you do. Even there's days where I'm dealing with things, it's a complex environment. I'm dealing with employees and vendors and staff and marketing. I'm running the business today and the business of tomorrow. And I've been doing this for 21 years, and there's days that suck. But if you embrace the suck by taking a step back and thinking, I gotta love this. I'm so grateful and fortunate to be able to love this. And I believe that more things come to you just through that sense of gratitude.
That's fascinating. All right, so let's close it out. This tea is phenomenal. What's the best way to cherish and enjoy a good cup of tea?
So the best way is how you enjoy it. If you want it with cream and sugar, go for it. But I encourage you that if you try a tea that's made of whole leaves, then you don't necessarily need to add all those other elements to it. But to taste the quality of the tea, this is something that you would do just to really understand the taste. I'll walk you through how to taste tea. So the first is I would take a normal sip. This is to get baseline. And the second is I slurp. So I'll draw the liquid in the front of my mouth. I swirl it around to cover all the different taste buds. I swish it back, swallow, and after I swallow, I take a slow breath out through my nose to really engage the olfactory
And that's
senses.
the ujjayi breath that you talk about.
Yeah.
Okay?
So it's like fogging a mirror, but with my lips closed. So it's a very audible sound. So now I'll do it.
Okay.
So I'm curious what you taste in terms of the difference from the first sip and the slurp.
Yeah, the flavors actually do resonate a little bit more stronger as you exhale.
Awesome. You did great.
Steve, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
To the tea.
Such a pleasure.
And that's the story of Art of Tea, a company built on ethical sourcing, strong relationships with farmer, and unwavering commitment to quality. We hope you enjoyed the incredible story and insightful conversations. See you in the coming episodes. We'll continue to explore the fascinating worlds of supply chain, from the fields to the factory floors to your doorstep.